In a world shrouded in mystery and secrets, one legend has remained hidden for centuries. What if the truth about Pope Leo XIV, that he was caught on camera, had finally surfaced? Join us as we unravel the clandestine events that reveal a startling story, blending history, intrigue, and conspiracy. But remember, this is a tale spun from imagination. Truth, as you'll see, is often stranger than fiction. Decades after the death of Pope Leo XIV, an extraordinary discovery was made that would ultimately challenge the very fabric of historical certainty. In a long-forgotten corner of an obscure research facility tucked away beneath the Vatican City, a team of archivists stumbled upon a sealed, dusty crate. The container was covered in peeling paint and layers of grime, having apparently remained untouched for years. Inside, wrapped delicately in faded velvet, they found a dusty reel of film, an artifact that many believed had long been lost to history. The reel itself was strange. It lacked any labelling or indication of origin, but its aged condition hinted at its antiquity. As the archivists carefully examined it, their curiosity grew. Could this be a genuine piece of historical footage? Or was it some elaborate forgery? Anxiously, they arranged to have it digitized and restored using modern technology, unsure of what secrets it might reveal. When the footage finally played for the first time, the room fell silent. The images flickered in and out, but what emerged was startling. An unmistakable scene involving Pope Leo XIV. The footage appeared to be shot covertly, perhaps clandestinely, from a hidden vantage point. In grainy black and white, Pope Leo XIV could be seen walking through a dimly lit corridor in the Vatican, an area rarely seen by outsiders. His expression was serious, almost tense, as he exchanged whispers with an unknown figure cloaked in shadow. The moment was brief, yet filled with an ominous weight. The camera angle shifted slightly, capturing a glimpse of the Pope's face as he listened intently. Then suddenly the frame cut out, frozen in time, adding a layer of mystery to the entire scene. Why was this footage preserved? Who had recorded it? Was it intentionally hidden or lost to history, only to resurface now, decades later? This discovery sent ripples through the world of historians, conspiracy theorists, and religious scholars alike. The implications were staggering. If authentic, it would suggest that there was more to Pope Leo XIV's story than the carefully curated image preserved by the Church for centuries. The footage hinted at clandestine meetings, secret plans, or perhaps even darker secrets that could threaten to shake the foundations of the Vatican's authority. What made this find even more remarkable was the fact that digital analysis of the reel's material revealed surprisingly modern techniques, something inconsistent with the era in which Pope Leo XIV supposedly lived. Could this be a forgery? Or was there some yet undisclosed connection to a clandestine network operating behind the walls of the church? These questions blurred the lines between history and myth, fueling speculation and curiosity. In the days that followed, experts from various fields, archaeologists, film restorers, religious historians, gathered to examine the footage. Some argued it was an authentic relic, a rare glimpse into a shadowy moment in papal history. Others believed it might be a cleverly staged hoax, designed to stir controversy or to uncover a hidden truth. Whatever the case, The footage's existence challenged long-held assumptions and ignited a worldwide fascination with the possibility of uncovering the truth about Pope Leo XIV's mysterious life and secret activities. As the news spread, the world watched with bated breath, eager to see what secrets lay hidden within that grainy reel. But the most perplexing question of all remained unanswered. How had this footage survived all these years, and what was its true significance? The answer, it seemed, was just beginning to come to light, and with it, the possibility that history's most guarded secrets might finally be revealed. As the footage played on the screen, the shadows cast an eerie glow across the dimly lit room where a team of experts observed in hushed silence. The image showed Pope Leo XIV walking through a secluded corridor deep within the Vatican, an area that seemed almost untouched by time. Winding narrow passages lined with ancient stone walls and flickering sconces. Every detail seemed to whisper of secrecy, as if the very architecture was designed to hide what transpired within. The moment grew tense when the footage revealed a figure approaching Pope Leo XIV, cloaked in dark robes, their face obscured by a hood. The viewer's curiosity intensified as the figure drew closer to the pontiff, exchanging a few whispered words. The whispers, indistinct on the grainy film, seemed almost urgent, clandestine. The Pope's expression was serious, almost strained, as if weighing a significant decision or acknowledging a troubling truth. What if this encounter wasn't a routine meeting? What if it was something far more clandestine? A secret exchange that could have had profound consequences? As the stranger leaned in, a fleeting glimpse of their hand, clenched into a fist, caught the eye, but details were too fuzzy to discern. The atmosphere was thick with mystery, and the environment seemed deliberately muted, intentionally omitting the context of what was being discussed. The footage then cut to a different angle, this time capturing the Pope's face in close-up, revealing a mixture of concern and resolve. His eyes seemed to survey the corridor, alert for eavesdroppers, as if he was acutely aware that he was being recorded or watched. Who was this visitor? And what secret were they whispering about? Was it related to political intrigue, hidden alliances, or perhaps even a clandestine plot that could threaten the sanctity of the church itself? Questions flooded the minds of everyone viewing the footage. There was no sound, only the visual clues, the body language, the shadows, and the silent tension. Yet despite the lack of audio, the visual cues seemed to tell a story of urgency and discretion. The unknown figure handed something, an object, perhaps a document or a small relic, to Pope Leo XIV before quietly retreating into the darkness. The camera lingered on the exchange just long enough for viewers to realise its magnitude. The mystery deepened when the footage suddenly shifted, revealing an even more startling scene. The Pope stepped into a hidden chamber, not marked on any official map. The space was sparsely furnished, only a wooden table, a couple of chairs, and what appeared to be ancient manuscripts stored in leather-covered boxes. It was clear this was no ordinary meeting place. It was a secret room, perhaps used exclusively for clandestine dealings or confidential council meetings. Here, the footage froze on the Pope's face, eyes heavy with thought. Theophilus, the archivist who discovered the reel, speculated that this could be a moment where the Pope was confiding in someone or reviewing sensitive documents. Could it have been a meeting with a secret advisor, or a clandestine member, of the church hierarchy. The possibilities ran wild. As the analysis continued, experts began to pore over the details of the scene, the wardrobe of the figures, the architecture of the chamber, even the faint markings on the manuscripts. These small clues could hold the key to understanding the context of this clandestine encounter. The fact that such footage existed at all raised unsettling questions about what histories had been buried and what truths might have been deliberately concealed. Furthermore, the mysterious visitor's identity remained elusive. No clear facial features could be distinguished, only the outlines of the figure cloaked in darkness. Some theorized it could have been someone from within the Vatican, perhaps a secret informant, a rogue priest, or even a political figure operating behind the church's back. Others speculated it could have been an outsider, someone operating covertly to monitor or influence the church from the shadows. The intensity of the encounter suggested it was of great importance, perhaps even a pivotal moment in the pontificate of Leo XIV. The timing of the footage, the secret location, and the hidden exchanges all hinted at a story more complex and more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. Was Pope Leo XIV engaged in illicit negotiations? Was he secretly involved in a power struggle that could have had profound consequences on the church's future? These were questions that haunted the minds of those who viewed the footage, sparking debates about the very nature of truth, secrecy, and the history of one of the most revered figures in religious history. As the recording ended and the footage was replayed for close inspection, the room was filled with a sense of awe and trepidation. The gathering experts and historians understood that this hidden moment was just the surface of a deeper, darker story, one that threatened to rewrite history if ever fully uncovered. Every detail, every shadow, and every whisper of movement pointed to a truth that had been kept tightly under wraps for centuries. As the experts continued to analyse the grainy footage, a new wave of fascination and speculation took hold. The images revealed not just a clandestine meeting, but suggested the presence of real evidence, clues that, if verified, could drastically alter the understanding of Pope Leo XIV's reign. The researchers pored over every frame, zooming in on the objects exchanged and the subtle gestures of the figures involved, searching for signs of deeper meaning. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence was the object handed to the Pope by the shadowy visitor, something small and indistinct in the black and white footage. Close inspection suggested it might have been a small relic or a carefully wrapped document. The strange appearance of the object, combined with the secrecy of the moment, led to intense speculation among the team. What was it? Was it a message, a confession, or a piece of forbidden knowledge? Its significance could potentially be immense. To get a clearer picture, forensic analysis of the footage was performed. Digital enhancement techniques brought subtler details into focus: the faint marking on the object, the intricate fold lines of the paper or relic, and even the delicate hand gestures of the participants. What emerged was a possibility that the object could have been an ancient papal decree, something that had been kept hidden from the public and even from most within the church hierarchy. If true, it meant the Pope himself might have been involved in secret negotiations or covert activities, perhaps even issuing clandestine orders that contradicted official church doctrine. Another discovery came when the team analysed the architecture and surrounding environment of the secret room. Subtle carvings on the stone walls and remnants of old frescoes revealed a hidden chamber that had been sealed away for centuries. Could it have been part of a larger underground network? An inner sanctum used by secret allies or underground factions? The very existence of such a chamber pointed to a sophisticated system of secrecy, one that might have been used by the Pope or by influential groups within the Vatican to conduct hidden affairs. Further research into the manuscripts stored in those leather-covered boxes suggested they contained rare texts that seemed to hint at forbidden knowledge or controversial doctrines. Some scholars thought these books could have held evidence of clandestine theological debates, political manipulations, or secret alliances with powerful figures outside the church hierarchy. If any of these documents surfaced publicly, the implications for the church's history and the legitimacy of some doctrines would be staggering. The more they examined, the more the evidence hinted at a possible conspiracy. Could Pope Leo XIV have been involved in a covert power struggle, perhaps even secretly collaborating with external political entities? The footage seemed to depict a moment of high stakes, an exchange of unseen knowledge that could have influenced the course of history. Was the Pope acting under pressure, or was he scheming for personal or political gain? These questions gnawed at everyone analysing the footage. The mystery grew deeper because of the timing. Many of the documents and artefacts hinted at events that took place during a turbulent period in the Church's history, a period marked by political upheaval, schisms, and power struggles with secular rulers and rival factions. If the footage was authentic, it could reveal hidden back channels where influential leaders huddled in secret, plotting behind the back of the wider church community. This would shed light on decisions made not in the open corridors of power, but in shadowy chambers where true influence was wielded. Beyond the physical evidence, the footage hinted at a broader story involving allegations of deception, cover-ups, and clandestine dealings. The possibility that Pope Leo XIV might have concealed or even orchestrated covert operations added dramatic weight to the debate. Could the Pope have actively hidden secrets from his own advisors, from the public, or even from his own church hierarchy? And if so, what was the true nature of these secrets? The team also examined the timing and context. When was this footage shot? Whose hand recorded it? Was the person filming from a concealed vantage point, perhaps someone within the Vatican who had access to hidden chambers? Or was this a recording made by an outsider, perhaps a spy or a dissident who had managed to infiltrate the inner sanctums of the church? Each scenario generated fresh theories and new questions. Who was behind the recording? And more importantly, why was it preserved and hidden for so long? The implications of such evidence were mind-boggling. If authentic, it suggested a hidden history, one that could potentially rewrite the story of the Church's spiritual and political authority. Had Pope Leo XIV engaged in activities that, if exposed, could have led to scandal or even a schism? Might these secret dealings have set off a chain reaction that affected centuries of church doctrine, influence and survival? Many of the experts began to consider the broader geopolitical ramifications. During the period when this footage was supposedly recorded, many European nations and internal factions within the church were embroiled in conflicts over power and influence. As news of the discovered footage and its startling implications leaked out to the world, a wave of panic and urgency overtook the Vatican's corridors of power. The Church's traditionally careful control over its image was suddenly under threat. This revelation was too explosive to contain. Church officials, many of whom had dedicated their lives to safeguarding its sacred reputation, swiftly moved into damage control mode. They mobilized a discreet yet powerful operation aimed at minimizing the fallout, an elaborate effort to suppress, discredit, or hide the evidence entirely. In the corridors of the Vatican, behind the scenes, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Secret meetings were held, involving high-ranking cardinals, papal advisors, and strategists tasked with containing the scandal. Their discussions centred around the potential repercussions that the footage could inflict on the Church's authority, its doctrines, and its historical credibility. Many worried that if the footage was authenticated and widely disseminated, it could trigger a crisis of faith, undermine centuries of theological certainty, and ignite political upheaval across nations intertwined with the Church's influence. One of the immediate steps was to control the narrative. The Vatican's legal and communications teams drafted statements designed to dismiss the footage as a forgery or an unsubstantiated rumour. They claimed that the reel was part of a conspiracy to discredit the Church, a tactic reminiscent of old political campaigns that sought to sow doubt and confusion. Yet for all their efforts, private whispers persisted. Affidavits from experts who had examined the footage questioned its authenticity and pointed to possible technological anomalies or signs of tampering. Simultaneously, efforts were made to locate the origin of the reel and trace its chain of custody. Church officials dispatched agents to investigate the archivists, the technicians involved in restoring the footage, and anyone who might have had access to the original reel. Their goal was simple: find the source or the person responsible for the leak, and to eliminate or silence them if necessary. Rumours circulated of clandestine meetings, surveillance, and even threats aimed at anyone who dared to speak openly about the footage. In a more clandestine vein, the Vatican's intelligence factions endeavoured to suppress the footage's circulation. They engaged in covert operations to confiscate copies from private collectors, researchers, and conspiracy theorists who had begun to study the film obsessively. Black Ops teams infiltrated online communities, removing links, spreading false information, or planting misleading narratives designed to cast doubt on the footage's authenticity. Their effort was not just about censorship, it was about controlling the very perception of truth itself. Behind the scenes, other powers, both within and outside the Church, took notice of the scandal. Political leaders and intelligence agencies from various nations were alerted on it, given the potential to weaponize such secrets for geopolitical advantage. Some governments, wary of the Church's influence or eager to capitalize on internal divisions, subtly encouraged the suppression of the footage, fearing it might destabilize religious authority and incite unrest. Others saw it as an opportunity to extract concessions or influence decisions within the Vatican. Diplomatic chess moves played in shadows. Meanwhile, the media frenzy grew louder. Though the Vatican carefully directed news outlets to downplay the significance of the footage or dismiss it as a forgery, independent journalists and bloggers pushed forward with their investigations. Rumours of a conspiracy to hide the truth began proliferating across social media, creating a growing distrust of official narratives. Videos, analysis, and counter-analysis cluttered the internet, with each side claiming victory, one dismissing the footage as fake, the other insisting it was evidence of concealed truths long buried. Within the Church, a palpable sense of crisis was mounting. Some conservative factions, staunch defenders of tradition, sharply criticised any acknowledgement or investigation into the footage. arguing that it was a dangerous distraction from spiritual duties. Progressive factions, however, saw potential in using the controversy to push for reform, transparency, or even a re-evaluation of church history. This internal tug of war added to the chaos, as church leaders struggled to maintain unity while keeping the scandal contained. Despite their efforts to control information, whispers of the footage's authenticity persisted. Leaked snippets, speculative articles, and anonymous sources claimed to have seen the reel or knew its provenance. Internal church documents leaked mysteriously online, hinting at the existence of a secret, internal commission formed specifically to investigate the implications. These leaks fed the growing public curiosity and deepened suspicions that the church was actively concealing something of monumental importance. Some of the more daring investigators and whistleblowers threatened to expose the full truth, risking their careers or even their safety. They believed that transparency was the only way to resolve the crisis. Yet doing so would mean confronting powerful forces that wanted to keep the past's darkest secrets hidden forever. The notion of a cover-up was reinforced by reports of files being mysteriously missing, witnesses silenced, and entire historical documents being classified or destroyed. Despite the formidable efforts of the Vatican to suppress and discredit the footage, the story was swelling beyond their control. An anonymous leak had found its way onto the internet, igniting an immediate firestorm of curiosity and controversy worldwide. The footage, once confined to the shadows of secret archives, was now accessible to anyone with an internet connection, bypassing the church's elaborate censorship efforts and spreading like wildfire across social media platforms, independent news sites, and conspiracy forums. The global reaction was instantaneous and tumultuous. Cultural commentators, historians, theologians, and everyday viewers all set out to analyse, interpret, and debate the authenticity and implications of the footage. Many skeptics questioned its legitimacy, claiming it was a meticulously crafted forgery, or a manipulation produced by a skilled artist or digital hacker. Deepfake technology and advanced editing tools made it increasingly difficult to discern genuine artifacts from convincingly fabricated ones. Skepticism ran high, and the battle for public perception intensified. Meanwhile, others believed the footage was authentic, and the emotional responses ranged from shock and outrage to curiosity and fascination. A significant segment of the public felt betrayed by the Church's centuries-long history of secrecy, by the apparent concealment of what could be damaging truths. Religious communities, faced with the possibility of a hidden past involving betrayal or corruption, experienced a schism of sorts, with some demanding transparency and accountability, while others clung tightly to their faith and trusted church authorities to handle the situation. As debates raged online and in media outlets, a chorus of voices started demanding official acknowledgement. Prominent journalists and independent investigators pressed the Vatican directly, pushing for open disclosure and demanding transparency about the nature of the footage and its origins. The Church faced mounting pressure from multiple angles: secular governments, academic institutions, media houses, and the general public, all eager to know whether what they saw was real and what it truly meant. Amid this chaos, clandestine groups and underground organisations took an active interest. Some sought to preserve the footage, believing it held the key to an untold chapter of history, while others aimed to weaponise it. either to discredit the church or to extract political leverage. Hackers and whistleblowers, claiming allegiance to various causes or simply driven by curiosity, attempted to infiltrate digital vaults, leak classified documents, or expose the church's attempts at suppression. The Vatican, still fighting to maintain control, launched a series of brief, carefully curated statements dismissing the footage as a hoax or irrelevant to the church's spiritual mission. But their messages lost ground to the relentless tide of public curiosity. An independent researcher named Dr. Amelia Hart, who specialised in historical media analysis, published a comprehensive report asserting that parts of the footage appeared authentic based on technical analysis of film grain, shadow consistency, and archival comparison. Her findings circulated rapidly, further fueling the debate. Was this a genuine artifact or an ingeniously crafted forgery? The narrative even seeped into popular culture, inspiring documentaries, podcasts, books, and internet memes. Conspiracy theorists proposed elaborate theories suggesting that the footage hinted at a hidden schism within the church, secretive dealings with powerful political factions, or even a cover-up of a scandal that could topple entire institutions. Some speculated that the footage might contain evidence of corruption, heresy, or even criminal activities, and that its exposure could lead to a significant upheaval of the Church's authority and influence. Within the Vatican, the leadership was increasingly split. Conservative factions insisted that the footage was part of a malicious conspiracy aimed at destabilising faith and sowing discord. They argued for unwavering silence, under the belief that some truths were too dangerous to reveal. Conversely, progressive elements within the Church pushed for transparency, believing that honesty might ultimately strengthen faith and repair trust. This internal conflict added a new layer of instability as church authorities grappled with the dilemma: reveal the truth and risk chaos, or continue to suppress it and maintain the facade of infallibility. As the controversy deepened, new revelations appeared. Unconfirmed reports claiming that the footage's origin was traced back to a disgruntled Vatican archivist or a rogue member of the church hierarchy, someone who had secretly recorded or obtained the footage long ago. Whether driven by ideology, revenge, or fanaticism, their motives added a new dimension of danger to the unfolding story. These whispers raised the possibility of other hidden materials, documents, or recordings that might still lie buried, waiting to be uncovered. The media and conspiracy communities intensified their investigations, digging into the background of the footage's provenance. Some claim that the film was linked to an even larger conspiracy, a hidden faction within the Vatican that had operated in secret for centuries, preserving forbidden knowledge to be revealed only at a moment of their choosing. Others posited that the footage was just a fragment of a much larger archive of clandestine activities, an incomplete puzzle that beckoned further exploration. As the controversy surrounding the footage reached a fever pitch and the world grappled with the mounting chaos, an unsettling realization began to dawn on many experts and observers. The truth might never be fully uncovered. Despite the relentless pursuit of answers, the evidence was elusive, fragmented, and shrouded in layers of deception and suppression. The more people searched for the definitive story, whether it was authentic footage or a cleverly created illusion, the deeper they delved into a labyrinth of conspiracy, history, and secrecy. Many believed that the footage was only a fragment of a much larger puzzle, what some called the truth vault that had been carefully curated and hidden for centuries. Hidden behind vault doors, encrypted files, and unbreakable passwords, there existed countless documents, recordings, and artifacts, all designed to keep the deepest secrets of the Church concealed. The significance of the footage was undeniable, but it was just one piece in a much grander narrative. A narrative deliberately crafted to withhold dangerous truths from the world. In the face of such uncertainty, some began contemplating the possibility that the true story of Pope Leo XIV and his secret encounters might forever remain locked away in shadows of history where only a select few hold the keys. It was an idea that disturbed many who believed in the transparency and integrity of historical truth. Were we merely being fed sanitized versions of history, fashioned to preserve the Church's image, while the darker realities were deliberately concealed? The question haunted scholars and skeptics alike. Others proposed that what had been uncovered was more than just a hidden secret. It was a symbol of humanity's ongoing struggle with truth and power. The footage, even if proven authentic, served as a mirror reflecting the broader issue of how institutions, religious, political, or otherwise, often operate behind a facade of honesty, hiding complexities and sins beneath layers of ritual, authority, and tradition. The true story might never come to light, not because it did not exist, but because those in power had long ago devised systems to delete, deny, or distort it. Despite the mounting silence and deliberate obfuscation, independent investigators persisted. They examined every fragment of evidence, every testimony, every secret document they could access, hoping to piece together a coherent narrative. Many skeptics argued that the story was beyond human grasp, a historical enigma that embodied the very limitations of human understanding when it came to institutions that wield immense unseen influence. They pointed out that some truths might be intentionally kept hidden to serve political or ideological interests, truths too destabilizing to be revealed without risking chaos. Within the public consciousness, a sense of ambiguity settled. Some people were resigned, accepting that some portions of history were forever lost, buried beneath layers of secrecy and lies. Others held on to hope that future generations, through advances in technology and investigative perseverance, might someday uncover the full truth. Yet at the same time, a quiet cynicism grew, an awareness that some truths could be so dangerous or so deeply entrenched that they would remain inaccessible, locked away behind the fortress of institutional power. The question of whether humanity was capable of truly understanding its own history became a philosophical debate. Could there be a moment of revelation, an apocalyptic unveiling, that would finally expose the secrets long kept from the eyes of the public? Or was history destined to be a continual game of shadows, with each generation only unravelling a small part of the larger secret? Many believe that such revelations could have unintended consequences, possibly destabilising the very fabric of society and faith. As decades passed, the debate persisted. Researchers, historians, journalists, and conspiracy theorists continued their dogged investigations, but the more they pursued, the more they recognised that some doors remained too well sealed. The more they questioned, the more it became clear that the stakes were higher than anyone could have imagined, repercussions extending beyond the Church into the very heart of global geopolitics and cultural memory. Some skeptics argued that the entire spectacle was a carefully propagated myth, the storytelling of a manipulated history designed to maintain control. Others saw genuine truth beneath the layers of deception, waiting quietly to surface. The tension between these perspectives fueled an ongoing debate, a debate as old as history itself. Do we seek the truth at all costs, or are there some truths so dangerous that they are better left hidden? The answer, perhaps, lay in the collective consciousness of humanity and its willingness to confront reality, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. In the end, the story of Pope Leo XIV, real or fabricated, had become a modern myth, a symbol of mankind's eternal quest to understand its origins, its authority, and its darkness. And as with many such myths, the truth might never be known, only assumed, speculated, or feared. The shadows of history stretched long and deep, and humanity was left to wonder whether the secrets of the past were truly lost, or simply waiting, silently, for a future that might never come. Never